as a business owner, the one thing you must have on the side is a reading culture. A reading culture, a research culture. Why? Because it's so important for you to be able to know the current information. You don't run a business because you want to eat today. You run a business because you want to eat to be generational, to have a positive effect for you and the generation to come. Knowledge is power. Use that knowledge to be able to help you and grow your business to the next level. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're reaching us from. This is Anthony Njenga, and this is Business Debut. Remember, the only thing we do here is to help you grow your business, make profit, and multiply sales so they can be able to impact the community positively. And today, there is something I want to discuss, and it's usually interesting. Does a businessman or businesswoman need to be able to continuously learn or not? Because I have heard people say that I finished school, now I'll not read again. And sometimes I wonder, what are you saying? What is that? Because I've heard people say that I don't do to go to school, I don't do to read again because I've read and school was boring. But let me give you a story. I have three friends. Went to school together, went to campus, got their BCom, and one of them got an opportunity to go to India, and they went to India. Now, when they finished campus, one of the friends shared and said, I'm going back home. Why? Because there are no jobs in this country. Unemployment rate in this country is crazy. So he went home and he was hanging out home, shags, doing farming and all that, because they had a farm, and at least the parents were able to support them. So he was at home, hang out, and of course, bragging about his degree and saying, oh, there are no jobs in this country, and it was crazy, and continued on for a while like that, drinking. Of course, when you're in up country, you have cheap booze, so you can drink and all and make merry, and of course he got a job as a driver, and he was driving around and making some bit of money, and was okay. Remember, he has a degree. Now, the other friend said left home and came into town, got a place in Kibera. He was there for a while, staying there, and he got a job in the factory. He got a job in the factory. He was working there as a cleaner, and of course that job was not a well-paying job. He was a cleaner, and of course he'd go to Kibera where he's paying 500 bob for a house and all that, and he could afford. Then suddenly the factory shut. Yeah, when it shut down, they were told that they can't make money, they can't be paid, and so he went back home and met this friend of his, and the guy was abusing him. I told you there are no jobs in Nairobi. This place is crazy. You'd rather be at home where you're within your area of comfort. You're able to eat food. What are you trying to do in Nairobi? The other friend had gone to India. I was going to do an MBA in India. What did he do in India? He went to India. Of course, India, when you're doing your MBA, there's so much time, so he was drinking a lot and drinking very well and making merry with the girls in India. So, short story, this story, a few months later, when this owner of the factory was able to restore his factory, and he called the cleaner. Why did he call the cleaner? Because he was paying them a low wage. So he could afford at least a cleaner and somebody else. When the cleaner was still cleaning the factory, he was learning how the machines were operating. So when he was called back, and this guy told him, why are you going to Nairobi to do what? That place is shit, man. You wouldn't make money. You'd rather be at home making money. I mean, you're comfortable here, and we're able to eat. It doesn't make sense for you to go back to Nairobi. So this guy continued on. So he came back. He came to Nairobi, and he got a job with the factory. And since this Mwindi was running with a very lean staff, he asked this guy whether he would be able to operate one of the machines. And since he has been watching these guys operating the machine, he started operating the machine. Yeah, and continued on. And before long, he was a supervisor, and he could not be let go. That guy, other guy in Gishagi, is still doing the same thing, driving, drinking, and making merry. The guy in India is drinking, waiting for his second year. Now, fast forward. 5 years later, the guy at home is still doing what? Driving and growing old. The guy in India came back home. He had a drinking problem. This guy who was running, who was in the factory, had already become the GM of that place. Why? Because he had knowledge. Now, what am I trying to get to? This is the idea. We all have knowledge. Now, the person who, both of us, all the four of them went to campus and had information. Now, one person used that information to complain and murmur. So he got the information, went back home and fitted in the environment that he knew how. Yeah, he knew. So whatever he had been taught in school did not change him. Yeah, he thought that was information for somebody else. So he went back home and did what he knew how to do and fitted in an environment of Ishagi and did the basic things he knew how to do. Now, the guy who was in Nairobi, because of the knowledge he had acquired, he knew that there was more to life than just what he had learned. He continued learning, learned how to operate a machine, learned how to manage people because he was in a factory. The environment he was in allowed him, or he used that environment to make him a better person. So he became a general manager in 5 years because of the knowledge he had in school and more knowledge that he had acquired. The guy in India, having the opportunity to go abroad, came back a drunk. He had a lot of information, but because of lack of discipline, he became a drunk. So when he came back home, what was he doing? He was an alcoholic. The parents were trying to find him a rehab so that he can restore him back into society. Why am I driving this story? This is the thing. The information, if you are able to, sometimes you say, and that's what I'm saying, people say, I have finished school, so I'll not read again. What you have finished, when you say you're not reading again, what you're saying is that the subjects that you're reading in school were boring. Find a space where you can enjoy, be able to learn more. Because if you don't learn more, because you have no knowledge, you'll not grow. So you cannot say you'll never stop reading. You can't say, I cannot read again. Yeah. As a business owner, the one thing you must have on the side is a reading culture. A reading culture, a research culture. Why? Because it's so important for you to be able to know the current information. And I've said this and I've said this in the previous program. When I started running a courier company, one of the biggest projects we had is to deliver documents locally and internationally. It was a big business. But come 5, 10 years, 20 years down the line, document business has gone off completely. In fact, I think we do either 1% or 2% of the business we are doing currently is document business, because the internet has come and has taken over the business for documents. Why? Because you can easily sell a file. You can send a file on Google Drive, a whole file with a lot of information. Now, if I was not able to read and understand the new culture, the things that are happening in the market, I would fit in an environment which I knew. And we have companies that have closed because they never changed their environment. They fitted, like Kodak until just recently when they transformed. They were fitting in an environment which they knew of photography. And before they knew, phones were doing the same thing that cameras were doing. No research, no reading culture, not learning what are happening in the new environment. So if you say that you are going to be a business person and you cannot read and learn, you will die. So one of the things you must do as a business owner is to have a culture of training and learning. You cannot separate knowledge, and it's not knowledge, it's knowledge that you read and that helps you. Remember, when you read, whatever you read, if you read and you don't teach one and you don't use the knowledge to help you grow your business, then that knowledge of no helps you. But remember, knowledge is power. And the knowledge you say is power is the knowledge that you enjoy reading and is transforming your life. And all this time, you ask yourself, whenever you read a book, what have you learned? What do you take out of a book? What do you implement in your business or in your business or environment you are in? I always make sure that every month I read a book or an area of my liking, whether it's on strategy, whether it's on customer service, whether it's on sales, whether it's on technology business. I always have to learn. Why? Because if I don't do that, what will happen? Before I know, technology will come, and we're going. Right now, we're in a space, in the technology space, robots have come into play. I mean, robots are doing what people are supposed to be doing. In fact, I think we have 4 robots that are able to talk. Robots that are able to do interviews and do broadcasting. Robots that are able to do customer service. Yeah. Now, what happens if you don't know that? Then what will happen is that before you know, those jobs, your jobs are gone. And I've said again in this program, like now the banking sector, there are things that cashiers do today that in another 5 years, you'll not need a cashier. You'll need a robot to just sit behind the desk. One, you have the ATM machine that can be able to give you money. Now we've gone to a technology where M-Pesa has become a thing that is so popular now. Banks in a few months, a year ago or 2 years ago, for you to get 100,000 from the bank, you need to get a credit application form. You need to be vetted. You need to be the manager needed to authorize. Now we have Fuliza. Fuliza can Fuliza you up to 100,000, and everything is done automatically. The system can be able to look at your credit reference. It goes and checks whether you're creditworthy based on your M-Pesa statement. The things that the bankers used to do now are done by technology. So you can't say that you will not read as a business owner because it's boring. You must read in a space that you know. I have a sister of mine who's in the salon business, and she was not very good in school, but now in her space, which is now making hair, she has to go to YouTube and learn how to do hair differently. She had to travel to Dubai to understand how she does Arabic hair, how she does African hair, how she does Mzungu hair, because they're all different. And if you don't learn that, you'll be left out. So I urge you as a business owner, you cannot say you must develop a culture of reading, and not reading one book a year. You have to develop a culture of reading one book per month, at least minimum, so that by the end of the 12 months, you've read 12 books on the areas that you're good at. And it's so easy now to read using technology. And you can use your iPad, you can use your phone, you can use, download. But as a business owner, the must thing you must do is read. Now, let me go back to our friend. Remember the guy who I was talking to you who was in Shags, still driving? To date, he's still driving and growing old at 45 years. Now, the other guy who left India because of lack of discipline, he's still hopping from one rehab to another. Still growing old, doing the same thing, getting a job, very active, losing jobs, going back to rehab. This other guy who was in a factory, right now he's running his own business and doing extremely well because he took a culture of reading and learning and not fitting in an environment and exploring other environments that will be able to help him. So what the knowledge he acquired, he used it for his growth. The other guy used it for complaining, and the other guy used it because of lack of discipline, it made him worse. Yeah. So I urge you, business owners, discipline is key, but you must create a reading culture to read and learn from the things especially in your space, and have learn to be able to live in an environment of people who are better than you, so that you can be able to become better in what you're doing, and you'll be able to push your business forward. Because if you don't do that, what will happen? You'll find yourself closing. I was just I was looking at Bitco, one of the biggest factories in Kenya, and do you know Bitco was started so many years ago? That's a generational business, because the son now of Bitco, who's now doing extremely well, has grown the factory at 100-fold. Yeah, but his father started it a long time ago. But every generation comes, and because of the knowledge, they have better knowledge than their parents, they are growing their business. African businessmen should be able to do the same thing. Yeah, because you must be able to develop a culture of learning, and your businesses must be able to take you to the next level. You don't run a business because you want to eat today. You run a business because you want to eat to be transgenerational, to have a positive effect for you and the generation to come. So, once again, this is Anthony Njoroge Jenga. Remember what I've said, knowledge is power. Always develop a culture of reading and learning so you can be able to become better and use that knowledge to be able to help you and grow your business to the next level. Once again, Anthony Njoroge Jenga from Business Debut. Remember, the only thing we do here is to help you make money, multiply your profits. You can help the community positively by the money you make. Thank you, and God bless.